Ooga booga, it's time for Lemmings to the tribes! Okay, I kinda was trying to get into the mood because now we're definitely going from a complete 360 in terms of wait, a 360 mean that we will be doing more of the same, and Cavelem is about as separated from the space tribe as it can humanly be in terms of theme, but in terms of difficulty, probably not. It's not as hard as the space tribe, I will say, but Cavelem is definitely one of the more challenging tribes of the game, and the first level definitely throws kind of a curveball at you. First of all, we gotta get introduced to all of these fine lizards over here that just casually throw your lemmings all over the place. It just right at the beginning of this tribe, you're definitely gonna see that things are gonna be very nasty for her lemmings. So, first order of affair is to build in order to get all of your lemmings to fall into that shaft onto the right, in order to delay them enough in order to go all the way here. And by the way, you're probably noticing those tiny little red eyes in the background. This is a trap. If you go there, there's gonna be a shadowy figure that is just going to snatch your lemmings away in order to get them to die. And finally, if your lemmings step onto that one other lizard over here, they're just gonna be propelled hard against the wall and they're gonna have a fatal fall all the way down. So, all in all, while the first level is not really difficult, it kind of is a map of things to come because this tribe is definitely gonna be brutal for the lemmings. Let nobody tell you that life in the prehistoric era was easier or anything. Oh boy. I mean, if you had to fight for your survival every single day, you definitely will appreciate the world we have today. And now, it's time for the successive division to occur. After the first level, this one is definitely way more kind. I mean, you can see those red eyes all over the place that are definitely staring at you, but don't worry. Getting out of their way is going to be pretty easy. The title itself just tells you what you have to do in order to even win the level. We have to divide, and then we have to reunite. Obviously, you have to keep your lemmings toward the center area because the outer sides of the level are complete death traps that are just going to wait for you to kill all of the lemmings by swallowing them into the abyss of the background. Also, don't worry about it, I'm going to show their death animation at some point. There's gonna be one level in particular where avoiding them is going to be really tricky, but right now there's nothing too difficult about this. Fairly straightforward level. The only part that may be a little bit more difficult is whenever you scoop for the right side, it can be difficult to dig in the right side because the way that the background tiles are shaped and everything, it makes it so that the lemmings cannot walk all the way back up, so therefore you have only a tiny amount of place to work with in order to scoop. But apart from that, this level is definitely the easiest level of the tribe. Very straightforward, not a whole lot of interrogation going for it, nothing but a whole lot of yippieing going all over the place. However, I cannot help but feel that the Cavelem tribe is definitely in a hurry because these two levels definitely had a tiny time limit. And then we have this one level, only a minute and a half. That kind of reminds me of the good old times whenever we were playing levels on the Mayhem difficulty. Except this one level is definitely a whole lot easier. It just, I'm sorry, but there's really not a whole lot to this level whatsoever. It's kind of intimidating because of the way that the lemmings are pouring out of the gate at top speed, but yeah, we just need to put in a platformer over here and the level is over. There's a bunch of springs over here that I think you're expected to use and everything, but don't. This is just going to make the level way more complicated, and why complicate ourselves whenever there's a way easier solution? But yeah, I'm definitely having a stompin' good time right now. How about you? So yeah, after the last two levels, which were kind of freebies, this level kind of scales the difficulty up again, because there's a bunch of things that can happen that go beyond your control, and yeah, you also have two groups of lemmings here, so you have to be careful. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for mishaps to happen because of the lemmings doing something that may come as unexpected to you, and then you have to correct it, but you don't really have a whole lot of tools in order to correct said mistakes. But right now, it doesn't seem as if we're gonna have too many problems. Yep, everybody just happened to go in the good way, so therefore, no problem whatsoever. But I'm gonna replay the level again in order to show off the ways that this level can just go wrong, because yeah, you haven't really seen how dickish this level can be whenever, you know, a lemming just decides to suddenly turn back whenever you're digging or scooping a tunnel, or whenever your lemmings don't quite go the right direction as you're stomping down the ground. So yeah, that was a little too easy, so let's replay the level, because there's definitely a little bit more to this than meets the eye. So now we have two problems going our way. First of all, we have that one lemming on the left which is completely lost and is absolutely not going the right way. So now we have to dig him out of here, because yeah, you can't really abuse ropers or anything because you only have one of them. You have to make it count. And since the slope is not that big to begin with, there's not a big margin of error for this one digging that you have over here. But yeah, here we go. Now it worked alright for us, so now we have to use a roper in order to make our way up here. And there we go. Now the level is done. So yeah, I might have upsold the level a little bit, because even then it's still not that hard, but just wanted to show people that this level is not always that big easy sunshine that will be obtained for absolutely no cost. So yeah, this level is totally the pit. So yeah, this level, this is probably the first big challenge that we have in this tribe. There's a bunch of different paths that you can take because there's multiple exits, but don't go ahead and think that all of these exits are good for you. If anything, it's kind of the opposite. This level can be a big jerk bag. You might be interested in going for that one path where you can see the two swinging contraptions, but don't. This is a terrible idea, and I mean, we've breezed through the first 4 levels, so I might as well show it off. And in the meantime, yep, the shadowy people say, no lemming allowed. So yeah, these contraptions are definitely kind of a dick if you want multiple lemmings to land on them, because yeah, they're kind of not going our way in any shape or form, and that means that a shitload of our lemmings are just gonna drown by trying to get onto the chain to even begin with. So you can already be sure that this is not gonna be a happy ending, but let's see what kind of ending we even get out of this. As of now, I predict we're not even gonna save like half of our lemmings, but yeah, we gotta babysit this entire thing, because yeah, if the lemmings kinda just do one fake move or something, I might have to use the fan, but even then, you see what the fan is doing right now. It's doing nothing. Okay, so now we have almost 30 lemmings that are going to be over this rope, or probably less, because at this point I don't think we're gonna even get that many to begin with. Alright, come on, only 5 people can make it onto that rope. Okay, or 4 I guess, or 3. These ropes are really the worst, but alright, let's try and fling this entire group all across. Oh, too bad that in the caves there doesn't seem to be a ceiling, because yeah, our lemmings just kinda get vanquished into the eternal abyss. So now, let's try and get this lemming all the way to the end now, because hey, he's gotten that far, he's gonna do something. Alright, so far so bad! Oh my goodness, alright. Somebody's gonna have to carry the torch that have been left behind, but even then, I'm not even sure I have any kind of digging supplies left, so I'm not even sure if I can do this. And also, by the way, forget about swinging from vine to vine. The lemmings cannot do that. So, alright, it's time for the floodgate to open. I don't care anymore. Everybody is just gonna be swung all over the place. It's a hurricane of lemmings. An indoors hurricane, shall I say. Oh. And the explosion even knocks the lemmings off the rope, so yeah, even more pain and agony for her lemmings ahead. So this exit is totally out of question, so now we're gonna try and go all the way down, and going all the way down is kind of a challenge. I'm not entirely sure if my tactic is the best in any kind of shape or form, but hey, if it works, it works. So first of all, we're gonna condemn this entire area in order to prevent any access toward the place where all of the shadowy figures are. And yeah, That should about do the trick, so now the only thing that we have to do is to fence. Wherever we go, we probably will be able to survive. Or maybe not. Okay, they landed onto that one tiny block, so all's well that ends well. So yeah, it probably is possible to go forward into that path with the shadowy eyes and make a little bit more of a traditional path, but yeah, there's still another pair of shadowy eyes just beside the exit, so at this point pick your poison. Do you want a longer walk with easier to do commands in order to make your way across, or do you just want to beeline for the exit? Oh, ain't got no time to render the screen, so it's time for the update to hand. See you for part 2 of Cavelem.